Yo, what is going on, everybody? We are going to be talking about gear today. So let's just jump straight into it. We made a video pertaining on how to build your team, how you're going to currently build your team, and thinking about the future of your team. Now we need to understand the gear aspect of that, right? So it's building our units that we currently have and then paying attention to the gear that is going to be like best in slot for the current units that we have in the DPS unit that you're going to want in the future. You want to already have the gear for it on your account and just use that gear until you get the unit. I'm going to demonstrate on how you should gear a unit, what you're looking for, what you do whenever you don't have your best in slot, and talking about refining the gear, like making it that you are that pink. So the very first thing you need to understand is, one, what does your unit do? What is the kit of the unit? So for example, Vivian is a priest. Most people think priests, okay, they need to have like HP. They need to just be spamming their abilities or just having a lot of HP so the outgoing healing is increased, or maybe they need to have the healing set on them. What I would highly recommend for you to do, first off, you're going to pull up DT Wiki. I'm going to recommend it, especially for the gear. I think their team comps is a little weird and a little wonky, but for gear wise, I think it's OP. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on Vivian. We're going to scroll down. Wait, what? We're going to click on Vivian again. We're going to scroll down and we're going to see recommended build. So for the recommended gear, they're recommending attack set plus the impact set with the ship slayer weapon. And we need to understand why. So I would say, one, go to DT Wiki, read the character's kit if you don't own the character and you're thinking about getting it. Or maybe tune into one of my videos because I go over all the characters. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure you are so you don't miss out on that. And make sure you leave a like on the video. So regarding to Vivian's kit, why are we running attack? You can either just trust the website, trust me, or you can go and read it for yourself. This character is going to latch on to somebody and increase their attack equal to 47% of her attack up to a ceiling of, for example, your Ifrit's attack. So that means we want to build as much attack as possible on this character. And that's why it is recommended. So what you're going to go ahead and do, if you have the gear, you're going to go ahead and just slot it in. And luckily for me on this account, I have her best in slot, right? So I'm pretty much done with this character. I have her at diamond. I have her best in slot. Eventually I'm going to want her phantom weapon and so on and so on and so on, right? But the things that, let's say you now have your best in slot for whatever character you're trying to build and you're able to UR them. You're like, so, but I'm a little bit hesitant of URing the gear. I don't want to do that just yet. I don't know what's good, what's not good, what I shouldn't be throwing away. Well, I would say use DT Wiki, go look at all the units you potentially want to run and just take a note of all of those gears and don't throw it away. Me personally, I think it's kind of, I just don't want to do that. So I don't know. So for you guys, I went ahead and I made like a little visual, as you could say. So this is going to show you all the characters' best in slot gear. This is all pulled from DT Wiki. So it's not, I didn't have any influence on this just yet. Again, if you disagree with some of these things, that's up to you. But for just a general guide, I would say look at DT Wiki, and then you can also look at this. You can screenshot this. This will just basically show you all the sets all of the characters are running. And then over here we have a gear tier list of showing ranked by usage from across all 47 A+ units and up. So most used to like trash, like no one's running that gear set, right? So you have your judgment. This is going to be the eagle for your artifact, right? You have penetration. This is going to be the last whisper. I think it's the bow, right? So 14 units are going to use this. 16 units are using that eagle. These are really important, right? Your HP, 11 units are running this. It's going to be important. These are going to be all important stuff that you need to keep on your count. You don't trash these gears at all. So this is not like, oh, this is the best gear in the game. This is a scale of, can I trash this or no? So anything S tier, you never throw away. A tier, it's the same thing. You never throw it away because this is your crit damage. This is like a DPS set right here. This is attack. A lot of units are good with attack. Your longevity, like never throw anything S tier, A tier. I don't even recommend you throwing anything B tier away until you have enough sets for all of these, right? So we know 3 units in total will ever use this crit. And even then, I don't use like a full set of crit anymore on my Eve because she already has enough built-in crit from all of my Holokins. But just make sure you have enough sets for these units. So whenever you get lower to like the B tier, the C tier, make sure you at least have one thorn, minimum one, like have one of everything here. Now we get into the skip these sets. These are 0 meta. In game, best in slot, none of these are used. Okay. So you are okay throwing this stuff away if you want to. What I do recommend though, before you go ahead and do that, and before the comments get flooded with idiots, no offense, I need you to understand you can use all of this gear. You can use focus gear on units that are not Zag. Okay. Because we're all in different phases of our gear, depending if you're a spender, free to play, whenever you joined, how far you got in a shovel event. It just depends on where you are on your account. This is just best in slot and how often a gear is being used by a unit. And then this is going to be just the visual. If you don't want to like go through all the open tabs, you want to like just control F, type A, and then find like all the A units and say, okay, I need attack, pin, judgment. This is just a visual. It's the same thing as DT Wiki, exact same thing. I just added the gear tier list. So going back to now we understand what gear we can eat whenever you do that. So like we're going to replace this right here. We'll replace it for a arcane boot. Okay. Just so I can show you how we go about this. You're going to go to advance. We're going to click this plus sign. And now we have to figure out what we can eat. So I already looked at the list. I know I can get rid of these magical boots and these physical boots. I have 4 of each. I don't need 4 of each. If anything, maybe 2 of each, and then I can stop. But realistically, I probably just go for 1 of each. So I know I can consume those, right? Because I already looked at the gear tier list. I looked at all the units I want to run, and I understand none of them need that, right? So then we have the reforging process. You're going to have this material here. It's going to be refinement stones. You get this from your champion expeditions, right? It's going to be in the endless abyss. It's going to be a reward. And so as you can see, the highest damage, 70 million. Like it's just depending on your DPS, you can get these, and these are going to be selectable, right? So you get to choose which one you want it for. So like, let's say we've already built a lot of helmets and just mostly our gear, and we haven't touched any of our weapons. Then you could put a lot of these into weapons, and it's going to cost 10 for each like refinement that you're trying to do. Okay. So now we go back to the reforge and we're going to just hit it because we need to get some stats on it. We're going to replace. And so for our goal here on the Vivian, we're looking for just attack, right? If it's not attack, it's probably not that highly rated. But what I would say for most units that are non-DPS, so it's going to vary, right? So for your supporters, you're really looking for whatever their main stat is. So for Vivian, it's going to be attack. For like Afnith, it's going to be haste, and then it's going to be HP, right? But for your Vivian, it's going to be attack, and we're looking for that. So what's another stat that I should be on the lookout for? I would say haste is also a really good one. And then having like HP, magical defense, things of like that nature. So we're going to roll this again, and then we're going to replace, because I seen one, we got a purple, and we got HP, and we got attack. So realistically, I want this stat to be the purple stat. If I had more reforging, we would just reforge it more. But I would say also be careful with that. You need to make sure, one, you're reforging like your main DPSs. So you need to have 2 to 3 teams. And I would say for each of those teams, your main DPS, all of their gear should be UR'd before you touch anybody else. Okay, so we understand those are how you get substats. That's how you UR gear. We understand what gear we can UR. What if I don't have any of these best in slot items that you're talking about? Cool. That's what the website doesn't do for you. It doesn't tell you what to use if you don't have best in slot. And honestly, it's going to be case by case. So what I would recommend for Guardians, we're going to go over Guardians and Warriors, what you could run if you don't just have their best in slot. So for Athena, you want to be running block gear, because her whole entire kit, her mechanic, it's all about taunting everyone. And you want to mitigate all of that DPS through just blocking. If it was possible to dodge easier, you would want to build dodge, but she doesn't have a lot of built-in dodge. She has a lot of built-in block. So we're going to go off the block. So best in slot is going block gear. Okay, so I don't have block gear. What do I run on my Athena? Then that's when you can think about it. Realistically, her goal is to stay alive as long as possible and to taunt people, right? So it would be anything with HP. It would be anything with protections, and haste is going to be good on anybody. It does not matter who it is. It's going to be good on anybody. But I highly recommend, if it's going to be a frontliner, they need to have that survivability, especially if that's like their job, is to be your frontline, right? So it's going to be your HP, your physical, your magical defense, your block, and then probably like dodge, like in that order of, if it's not your best in slot, you go from that order. Maybe haste goes like towards the end, definitely all the way to the end, because you need to make sure your front line is staying alive, right? It doesn't matter how much haste they have if they're just dying, because they have like no form of protecting themselves. And it's going to be the same thing with like weapons, right? We're looking for weapons that have some type of survivability on them. So we have this, or if you're having like a 2-piece set right here, like let's say we don't have best in slot weapon or an artifact, then you have increased HP by 10% and then recover 1.5% of your max HP per second, right? You just need to get creative. You need to just think about your account and what is currently on your account, right? This is not like best in slot for anybody, but it's not a bad item to use until you have your best in slot. So this is like something I would recommend for a tank. And then for all the rest of the units, it's just going to depend. Honestly, it just depends. But for the most part, your front lines, anything with HP and protections, your DPSs, anything that's increasing their DPS. So either crit chance, crit damage, attack, like all of those stats are going to be just universally good on that unit. And especially haste as well, if you want them spamming, or attack speed if they're a basic attacker, right? If you don't have best in slot, you can look at those items. Your priests, for the most part, they all want HP, but it's really good if they can just spam, honestly. If you can just have them all on haste gear, like that would be amazing. But it's either it's going to be haste gear, it's going to be HP gear, it's going to be all of that, right? So this is why I really like the gear tier list that I made, because it kind of just shows in a way where these are flexible pieces right here, right? HP can realistically go on anybody. It's just HP. Haste can go on anyone. It's just increasing the speed and lowering the cooldowns of like when they can spam abilities. Crit damage, like you understand, they have to first be able to crit, like have high enough crit chance to be able to use that crit damage. For evading, you only really want to build evade on characters that already have built-in evade, because it's really hard to proc it if you don't have a lot of it. Attack is a universal set. It can go on anyone. It just increases attack. Same thing for your longevity. Honestly, if none of my units are using judgment or penetration, or not longevity, I'm talking about energy. If like this energy, it says only 2 units use this. Bro, I love energy on any unit that does not run a better 2-piece or like have their best in slot 2-piece. Like I love running energy, and I like but for the most part, I really run arcane over energy. But if I don't have any arcane pieces, then I'll just slap on this energy piece. Like it's insanely good. So highly recommend you just take a look at this. Take everything with a grain of salt. Again, this is from DT Wiki. I think you should just be looking at the unit that you want to run and go look at how they're being built. And then just understand that this is just a tool, a visual for you to understand how many units are actually building any of that gear. And guess what? Again, this is from 47 units from A+ and up, from TW and global. Some of these gears are never used at all. But like, I'm not saying throw away all of your magical defense. Magical defense could be good on your account, especially if you are not as optimized, or you're a newer player, or just on the lower end, and you're going against like a magical DPS boss and you don't have any like best in slot gear for your main tanks or your front lines. Magical defense could help you there, right? So it's not saying have a 0 of this on your account. It's just saying this is nobody's best in slot. And there are going to be scenarios when sometimes you need to get out of your best in slot for a certain area of content. If this did help you, if you need like a more in-depth, maybe a character by character, I would say just go look at the DT Wiki, right? Because that, I don't think that would be like a long video. I mean, maybe potentially, maybe for newer units, maybe we do that. I don't know. But again, I appreciate you guys for sharing your time out of your day for consuming this content. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, leave a like. It will push us out into the algorithm, so more people, new players for DT, and players that haven't played DT yet, but they're thinking about it, they will see this video and they will join us and just make the DT community bigger. So please go ahead and do that. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.